Apple TV Plus brings us the sci-fi, action, thriller, rom-com. There's a lot going on here. The Gorge. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Apple TV Plus movie, The Gorge. This features two big names, Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller, and almost no one else. Sigourney Weaver does have a minor role. There's a couple of other people with some slight speaking roles at the beginning and towards the end, but for the vast majority, it is just Teller and Taylor-Joy, really making this a two-hander. But we'll get into all the specifics here in just a moment. First, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a Dan Reviews It subscriber already, thank you so much for that. Love having you guys return. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell too, so you get the alerts for all my video drops. I try to post something just about every day, so there's always a lot going on here on Dan Reviews It. And you could like this video or comment below. That stuff all helps the channel out as well. So, okay, we have these two stars, and they portray two elite snipers ordered to guard a deep gorge, one on the east and one on the west side, without knowing what lies inside, and with no other human contact for an entire year, including their counterpart on the east or the west. Rules are made to be broken, right? So some rules are broken, and that's sort of where we get the rom-com of this movie, which is one of many things that I thought just didn't make any sense. But like I mentioned, there are a couple of other people involved in this, Sigourney Weaver being one of them, but really not very much. We have the introduction of what the Gorge is and what we know about it, what we don't know about it. And then there's, some people at the end in which I think is a very unsatisfying conclusion. We won't go into the details on that for spoilers' sake, but other than that, we have just those two kind of carrying all of the load for the remaining hour and 35 minutes or whatever of the movie, just kind of 5 or 10 minutes on each side without them. But we do get a sense about, 40 minutes, an hour in, something like that, to what exactly they are guarding. And so we do get the sci-fi aspect of that. But look, this movie is not very good. In fact, of the 15 or 16 I've seen so far for 2025, this is my least favorite. And here's why. I've already talked about a couple of the issues. A lot of it doesn't make sense. So let's start there. And then we have in the intro is just all of this exposition after exposition. Every single character we meet gives us 3 minutes of exposition. Okay, let's meet Miles Teller's character. Well, why is he, a part of this? Oh, Sigourney Weaver's going to tell us, but she's going to give us, the entire bullet point history of who this character is and why we should care about him and what the Gorge is and what we know about it. And then he goes to the Gorge and we meet the guy that has been guarding it the last year. So then we get another exposition dump from him about, oh, well, here's what I've seen in the last year. Look out for this and that, and don't worry about this. And bye. And then he leaves and Miles Teller is left to his own devices. But we do meet Anya Taylor-Joy right at the very beginning of the movie. So we know she is also an elite sniper, and it's explained to us during the exposition dump that she's going to be guarding it from the opposite end. And so look, they get bored, things happen, and then we get to the really bizarre part of the movie, the rom-com stuff. And it is it's a sci-fi action movie, so you don't necessarily think of the comedy with it, but their romance part is all about the comedy. They're doing bits for each other, looking through the telescope, or the binoculars on the other side. They're holding up signs for each other, not exactly like Love Actually, but something similar, I guess. It's just, where did that all come from? And then that gets completely sidelined about halfway through the movie. And without, again, going into spoilers, I can't even really talk much about that. But eventually that kind of gets dropped altogether, and then we're left with the action and the sci-fi stuff. And it's just, this movie seems so disjointed in that way. And I like both of these actors a lot. I think they even have some chemistry here. I think it would be tough not to have chemistry with either one of them because they're very very attractive people and they're both really solid actors. So it makes sense that it would be tough to not have chemistry for the two of them. And we do see that here, but to what end? It just didn't really add anything to the picture for me. And it just left me more confused as to why we even went down a path that doesn't really get its due as one of the genres that this film is playing. And then we've got on the opposite end of that, the action and sci-fi stuff, which for me didn't really cut it either. It's dimly lit. It's a little bit confusing. And other than the exposition dump we already got at the beginning, we still don't really know a lot about what this gorge is about or, where things are coming from or whatever. Again, it's hard to talk about this movie in any kind of detail without some sort of spoiler. But in any event, just take my word, this is a stinker. The only reason really I'm not failing it is because I do think there is some chemistry between Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller, and they're giving it their all. And I think it starts out with an intriguing premise. We never quite get the meat and potatoes of that, and like I said, the ending sort of ruins that anyway. But there is some sort of interesting premise here. Now, this was directed by Scott Derrickson, who has a bit of an uneven history with me. He directed The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which I didn't really care for, but then he's done two really solid horror movies with Ethan Hawke. The first, Sinister, and The Black Phone, and I think he's involved in The Black Phone too. I don't know if he's directing it. And then he had some involvement in Sinister 2, which was terrible, but he didn't direct it. I think he maybe co-wrote it or something. But anyway, so he's got a little bit of a spotty history. This one did nothing to clear that up for sure. I leave The Gorge with a D. It's my first D of the year. Like I said, so far my worst for 2025, but you can check it out if you'd like on Apple TV+. All right, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It, and I'll see you next time.